Yeah, I'll turn it down. That's fine.
There's some soft jazz.
Soft jazz. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, between a G, you good?
Pass. Okay. Well, I guess I'm here now. Everybody says it sounds good, so yeah, give it a couple minutes to see if anybody shows up. Anybody else, that is, of course. I don't. For whatever reason, the live view count isn't showing up for me, which kind of sucks, but whatever.
It's not showing for me either. For me either.
Hey, Doom Speaker. Okay, well, there's at least two people here, so.
You might call me and see if it's
Yeah,
fixed it up.
I have to restart Skype real quick. There we go. Call. Yep, I hear you. I don't know if Twitch hears you, but I hear you. Cool. Yeah, okay. Six people. And there's probably four of us in the office with Twitch on, so really two people. Okay,
Might
well,
say nine.
oh, nine. Lots of folk. Um, yeah, so I haven't done a programming live stream in quite a while. Um, been very busy trying to make the game not broken, among other things. But yeah, so here I is. Um, game, we haven't sent out a build in quite a while. It's been a long, long time. Um, so the next one is coming up pretty soon. And I guess a lot of things will have changed since the last time you guys have probably, or from the build you guys have. Um, one of the one of the gigantic tasks that we did over the holidays was um, redo the database system, which we've talked about a little bit on the forums. But if anybody hasn't heard there, so basically in the last build, load times were getting pretty bad, between like 10 to 15 seconds between levels. It's pretty awful. And that's we didn't even have all of the databases that we needed. So when we started implementing the real weapon stuff, which is a huge database, um, it was just going to get insane. So we actually totally redid the database stuff, and now load times are pretty much non-existent. At least for me, we'll see whenever this bill goes out what results are for all of you, but I'm pretty confident that they're going to be pretty nice across the board. So that's a huge amount of work that's not really apparent in any way other than load times, but a critical thing. So I guess we'll just boot up the game and run through some of the new stuff. Bum, ba-dum. So, oh, she just exploded. That's not good. I just updated, so I'm going to pretend that the update was the problem. We'll just roll back one. That's what I get for not testing the game after I update. So we'll just roll back to where I know that it works. Try again. There we go. Okay, well, so yeah, there's a bunch of junk in here in the jail that doesn't go in here normally. This has been our testing grounds. Um, oh yeah, that's pretty awful. So yeah, so you can ignore most of this stuff. This is just where me or Nathan or whoever throws stuff into the game quickly to test. So, anyways, let's go get young gladiator. Ouch. Ow. So one of the things that you can do now, which I'm 99% sure you couldn't do before, is actually grab objects, movable objects. So if I use the interact key, I can actually pull things around. And this is a little bitty pot, so I can obviously move it around pretty quickly. Whereas if I grab this big pot, can't move quite as fast. If I grab one of these tabards, I think I move quite slow. Yeah. But anyways, being able to grab objects, move them around, is pretty important to a lot of the upcoming puzzle elements that are going into the game. I mean, it's kind of cool in general anyway. But a lot of the puzzle stuff is going to be utilizing those mechanics. You're also supposed to be able to throw things that you pick up. So, like, I've got this pot. I'm supposed to be able to throw it by on the keyboard pressing space, but right now it just drops. So one of the cool side effects of being able to pick up and move stuff around is can you diagonally grab stuff? Sure, like that. I assume is what you mean. Is you can actually, if you ever run out of shield pieces while you're playing the game, you can actually pick up and use stuff as a temporary shield. There's just to show you that it works in another diagonal direction, which is pretty handy. Also, like if this had a light in it, then I could move it around and light up a room a bit better than I could otherwise. So there's a lot of kind of interesting stuff that you can do with that. So yeah, some of the other stuff that's in here. So obviously there's a new fireball projectile in various colors. You can probably tell that it's not rotating, so it's heading, which is a bug on my list to fix before we ship this build. Then there's a couple of other enemies in here, the Skeeter and the Skeekling, I think is it's called. Basically the baby version of it. Kind of interesting little enemy guys. Ouch. Yeah. So these little boxes over here with the ray lights, this is actually something that I'm going to work on during the stream after I get finished going over some stuff. But basically, right now, well, whenever you find weapons, they tend to blend in a lot to the ground or with other things, particularly debris. And since you often find weapons by breaking stuff when there's lots of debris, it's hard to see stuff. So there's actually going to be these sort of light rays that we have on the test boxes. And unfortunately, I broke a bunch of them here. Let me read the game real quick. But basically, you'll notice that there's different colors and sizes, and that's for the different tiers of weapons. So basically, to be able to quickly see if there's any weapons on the ground or where they're at, you'll have these nice little light effects coming out. So obviously, you can get over here to see this is like a tier 0 weapon, and then this was like, I guess that's 7 or 8. Yeah, will definitely help out quite a bit in distinguishing stuff. So speaking of weapons, so that's obviously been a big part of what we've been working on recently. And so we have that system up and running. And so forgive the particle effects on the box. We were experimenting with some particle effects, so the boxes look magical, but they're just regular crates. However, I have it currently set up where every crate will generate a weapon. It makes it a lot easier to test stuff that way. So if we break open this crate, looks like there's a machete. There's a couple hammers. Looks like probably the same one. There's a little knife up there, gauntlet, another knife, wands. It looks like brass knuckles, and of course we have the infamous bouncing coins. And there's a pot of beans, which you probably haven't seen before either. The beans actually, so that's actually something to bring up. So now there's a excuse me. So the interact button is implemented in the game. As you saw, if you're adjacent to a movable object, you can use the interact button to pick it up and move it around. And so now there's also effectively 3 kind of item types, I guess. So the first type are like coins and shield pieces and experience orbs once we throw those in there, which are basically collision is collection. You touch a coin, you get the coin. You touch a shield piece, you get a shield piece. You know, there's effectively never going to be any downsides to picking those things up, so it's automatic. Then on the next kind of item we have are like, for example, this can of beans or bowl of beans. If you run into this, it doesn't automatically collect. You actually have to choose to use it, and the reason being is because this is probably, well, I know that this is a good bowl of beans, but beans can be poisoned. Meat hunks can be poisoned, stuff like that. So anything where there's actually a risk to use it or to collect it, you actually have to manually do so. So if I walk up to it and press the interact button, which since it's floating up on the brassiere, I probably can't get to it. Yeah, you eat the beans, and then the interact button is also used to pick up the weapons. So I can pick up this machete, pick up one of the hammers, pick up the gauntlet, pick up a knife, pick up these brass knuckles. So the interact button also is the pickup button effectively. Um, so if you look in the bottom left, you can see my inventory is maxed out now, so I can't pick up this other hammer. He just wails about. Um, so the inventory, yeah. So basically, you can move through the items in the inventory. So we've got the machete, a buster, fisticuff, a card, and knucks. So you can move through those. If I want to get rid of something out of the inventory, then I can press the throw button. So I'll get rid of the card. Right now, like I said, throw is just dropping, not actually throwing. And then I can go back and pick it back up. Then if I can move through the inventory, and then whenever, let's say I want to equip the knuckles, I click or press the swap weapon button, and so now I have the knuckles equipped. So it represents down there in the bottom right, and if I zoom in, you can actually see that he now has a pair of brass knuckles on his hand and punches for an attack. So we switch back to the short sword, and so he's got a nice slashing attack and all that. I like the short sword. We'll switch to the machete for a little bit. There's switch to the buster real quick. No, switch to the fisticuffs. So this is a hand weapon. So it's a gauntlet. It's got some nice metal studs on the back of the glove, and obviously you punch whenever you're using that weapon. The card, which is a knife. So you got a nice little thrusting attack. I actually quite like the knives. They're pretty fast. The range is obviously kind of limited, but they're a fast weapon. Don't do a lot of damage. Ouch. So you can see the range is really limited. Actually, let's check out and see what that range. Actually, I think that one's busted. They're right before the stream. I actually found a bug where, after switching weapons between different skeleton families, the collision seems to get off. Whichever collision it's referencing, which is super annoying when you're playing the game. So yeah, see, this one is now busted, I bet. Yeah, so it's using a hammer style collision for this one instead of the normal sweeping polygon. So I eat those beans real quick, which is super, super annoying, but we'll just play the game for a little bit, even with that bug. It'll drive you mad after a while, but open up the doors. So the other thing, the interact button is used for switches now. So just walk up to the switch, use the interact button. There it goes. Before I drop down and just play for a little bit, one other thing is so we have a bunch of weapons in the game now. I don't know how many to be exact. The data sheet for weapons is huge for the base types. I think there's like 1,300 entries right now. We obviously only have a fraction of those scripted/arted. But to show a couple of the other things, so basically I'll zoom in here on the short sword. All of the weapons are composed of a bunch of different parts, which it's hard to make out here, but you can probably see at the very bottom you have the butt, and then you have the guard and the blade or whatever, and each weapon family consists of a bunch of different parts. So whenever we spawn weapons, we pick a base type, and then there's a bunch of randomization parameters that can happen. And one of the most common ones will probably be the material. So if you have a metal weapon, there's a bunch of different metal materials, from like bronze, copper, up to like, I don't even remember the fancy ones, but I'm sure there's gold and stuff like that. Or if you have stone, there's a bunch of different types of stone. And the way we have this set up to visually achieve all those different variations is basically, I think there's between I want to say 15 to 20 materials per type, and the types are metal, stone, wood, fabric, I think. Yeah, Baker says yes. So, and basically, to get like different visuals for those 15 to 20 different types, there's actually 5 unique images and then a table for tinting that gets applied to those unique images. So from 5 source graphics, we can generate the necessary, roughly 20 odd visual variants. So this is a debug feature, but I'll actually run through with the short sword, so I can actually switch through those 5 images as a debug feature, so I could test it. So these are sort of the 5. And actually, now I'm just tinting it as well, which I probably don't want to do. So I went through and tinted all of them, so I messed it up. But I bet I can swap it and swap back, and it's fine. So those are kind of the 5 base material types that we'll tint from. And from an example for tinting, this is also a debug function, but there I'm just scrolling through a bunch of effectively random color values. And obviously, since these are random, not all of them look very good, and that's why we have the dedicated table, which has very specific tint values. Baker got a phone call. I don't know if you guys could hear that. So kind of interesting. So we can drop down into that and do mess that hockey puck of death, and indeed it is. So I'll whack it, and outfit will go. Oh, it fell down the drop. That's convenient. So I'll just play for a little bit, and see if that actually. Yeah, so the collision reverted after I went down the drop, which is what I thought. I don't know if anybody noticed, but the loading was basically instantaneous. I'm actually going to watch it on Twitch to make sure that I'm not deceiving myself even, which again is sort of the nice side effect of the of all the database work. Yeah, so it comes through on Twitch pretty fast as well. So anyway, let's see if I can find any other interesting weapons. Kind of like to find a whip or maybe the spear. I really like the spear. There's a fairy cake, by the way, which is a manual use consumable. Restores hearts. I guess we plan on having bad fairy cakes too. So you actually have to decide whether you want to use it or not. But I think this will generate. I guess the chest don't generate weapons yet. So yeah, the weapon generation at the moment is mostly for testing. We'll have to go through and hook up some items for real. I would really like to. I think that's a mace. Yeah, that's a mace. But I would really like to find a whip or a spear. So as you can see, that right to the left of my character is a pair of brass knuckles. But they're so small, without any kind of visual effect, super difficult to sort of pick them up against the background. So after I play this for a little bit, I'm actually going to go ahead and try and get the. There's a whip. That's what I wanted. So what do I want to drop? Yeah, I'll drop the card and pick up the whip. Which is interesting. The visual didn't change. If you look over on the right hand side, it still thinks I'm equipped with the card. So something got messed up right there, unfortunately. But growing pains. So this whip has huge range and a massive arc. It's just slow as all get out. So it works kind of nice in a room like this where the enemies are all pretty slow / non-lethal. But I don't really think the whip would be my weapon of choice going up against a bunch of spiders or similar. And this whip, I think this is one of the weaker whips as well because it does not do very much damage. So I'm going to switch back to the short sword for now. And that's a wand, but I want the spear. Where is the spear? And you can see a bunch of lights and particle effects and whatnot up in the top left of each room. That's on my to-do to fix before we ship this build because it's pretty annoying. There's another knife. Don't want that. That's a mace. Don't want that. Hammer. Don't want that. Another gauntlet. Don't want that. So I'm gonna debug cheat and just open the doors. Probably ought to eat one of those fairy cakes back in the first room. Oh, all I want is a spear. Oh, there's a fairy cake at least. Oh, shoot. so that's nice. Um, the Gladiator Shield Dash does damage too, which is pretty nice. Well, if there was a spear in that one, it probably went down in the pit. So I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to find a spear, but debug cheat. The spear is sort of like a knife in some ways. It's pretty fast, direct in front collision, just with a lot better range. So that's probably why I'm pretty partial to playing with the spear. Some more crates. And I don't want any of those things. So I'll bust open these crates, see if we find a spear. There's a gun. No spear. Yeah, so no spear, just some beans. But beans are good, right? Alright, I'm going to check out the comments for a second. Yeah, one question was about Shield Dash. In general, it's quite a bit better now. Like, you're not going to take damage at the end of it unless you just linger. So you can see let me dash into this guy. So see, I don't take damage. I forgot that that's the way it was in the build that you guys have. But it's nice with the Gladiator to actually be able to do damage. But yeah, my bright purple sword. So anyways, that's a quick and dirty rundown on a lot of the new stuff that has changed recently. Actually, let's use the machete for a little bit. So quite a bit of mechanical stuff that's been implemented. Obviously, the database is largely technical, sort of behind the scenes thing, but it will help everyone's gameplay experience quite a bit, I presume. And yeah, the other stuff, largely mechanical updates. Pretty good stuff, though, really. Actually, let's go. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the drop. See if I remember where it's at. Okay. And just to show the load time improvement again. Such a minor thing, but makes such a huge difference. Especially, I have a pretty nice machine, so I could only imagine. In fact, the load times were apparently way worse than I originally thought after asking some people on the forums. But anyways, so yeah, whereas previously this took about 15 to 20 seconds, now it takes about 3. And I think that's going to be pretty much across the board. So yeah, there's that for now. Gauntlets. Punching stuff is pretty fun too. Range is just sort of an issue, There's the Baffle Droughts, which is, well, the weapon the Sorcerer is going to start the game with for now. But, okay. Time to do some work. Does anybody got any questions before I start doing some code and ignoring everything else? Let me... temporarily for the stream. Telling Kurt that last update blew up the game, so yeah, not sure what was going on there. Questions? Kobe with the short loading times. How do I justify coffee breaks? You don't. You have to drink it as you go. Of course, now you need like so many keys to play the game, so many buttons that it's going to be hard to even have the spare hands, but all right, well, I think Baker and Matthew have got the chat under control, so I will get to work. Yeah, talking to Kurt on Skype. Curious about that, what that crash issue was, but we'll worry about it later. Well, let me check. We'll look into it later. All right. So what I want to do is get those light rays to show up on the weapons when they're on the ground. So there is this nice sheet over here somewhere. Yeah. So this is one of our database sheets. So here are the lights that Nathan put together for this very purpose. So it should not be a big deal getting this to work, but nothing is ever as easy as it seems, unfortunately. So we will see what we can pull off. Hey, Nathan. Hey, Reynolds. Sorry. Hey, are those lights for the weapons? Are they? It's just one single light.
They're labeled by tier, so it's one
But right, but it's just one light. That's.
single light reused with different values attached to them.
But what about that bottom?
The bottom part is in the floor database.
So it's different. So it's just a.
Yeah, and you'll know it when you see it. It is weapon
Okay.
marker is what it's called. Weapon numbers marker.
What are we loading stuff in the floor database as right now? Just sprites, right?
Yeah, it's a simple sprite, but
'Kay.
mostly it's for like floor tiles, power tiles and stuff like that.
Okay. Cool. All right.
For all that stuff. I mean, who do you think you are?
Well, I said your name and you didn't answer, so I was like, well.
30-second delay. If you just give it a second, it'll come over and talk. I guess that should be in real time.
Weapon light base. So I don't know. There's actually like 37 people on the stream, which is quite a few. So I don't know on. Yeah, I don't know. I think people will probably be bored pretty quickly with the programming, but we will have a go at it regardless. The good thing is I don't think this is going to take very long, at least this particular thing. And then maybe we can do something slightly more interesting. Or not. I don't know. Alright, so down here we need to do some stuff. Load skeletons. Da, 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 da. So actually, the whole weapon, and since weapons are composed of pieces and there's like 12 different skeletons for the different types of weapons and there's like 1,500 weapons, the code that controls all that is just insanely complex. You're seeing a little bit of over here where I have to go through the skeletons and cache certain bones and a whole bunch of other stuff, create dummy attachments. Very, very painful stuff, but is what it is. Weapon light equals pxs create scene object. I think this is the one we want. Yep. What is the database for that call? I think it's called lights. Can't remember. Better check. Yep. And the entry that we want is well, we really want any of them, but we'll just roll with this one for now. This is an onload, so we have to manually load this fellow. Alright. Theoretically, that should give us a light on our weapons. It's going to show up all over the place, though, which is not what we want. And need to forward declare that class. Probably need to include it over here, too. Well, at the very least, I'm going to have to include scene creation functions. Still more errors. Oh. Yeah, so what is the alternative to that? Oh, I could just do it that way. Yeah, that's probably easier. That way I don't have to worry about any silly casting or anything. 7 errors. See light unidentified. Oh, god damn. Proper name spacing. Very important. Wait, what did I declare that as? Why doesn't it want to be my friend? Oh. So yeah, so C++ template errors are stupid because here it's like, hey, I can't make this conversion when there's no conversion going on. But the truth is, it doesn't know what the hell light is, so it gets confused. So golden rule when you work with templates: always read the second error. Oh, see, it's still getting the same error though, because I must be dumb. Oh, it doesn't come back through casted. Well, that's not what I want either. Oh, right. Yeah. Forgot how to do this. It's pretty sad. I'm going to do it this way. I have a couple different creation paradigms going on, and I really need to not do that. I need to go through and clean up one of them. But I haven't got around to doing it yet. That should do the ticket. Actually, I want to make sure that that is... Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Go away, compiler errors, yay. C++ for Zerprise, to answer his question. Yay for link times, that take forever. So if this worked, then all of the weapon item things should have lights on them all the time, which is not what we want. But it's a good start. And see, I don't see them. I don't see them. See, I assume they would even have it right there. It looks to not be the case. Let's make sure. Ah, see them up there though. Yeah, so there's... I guess they are showing up on those. They are just... they're being rotated. Yeah, they're keeping the rotation of the object, which we does not want. There's a bunch of them up in the top left-hand corner, which looks pretty cool. But not what we want. Yeah. So yeah. So that more or less did what we want. So now we just want to turn them off by default. So set active false. That's fine and dandy. So I think what we want to do is actually make an additional function that is enable light. Actually, we'll just make it take a boolean. And we'll use this to turn it on and off. And then we effectively just need to make sure that function gets called whenever we want to spawn those in the room and at no other time, which shouldn't be a big deal. Probably just want to go here, way down to the bottom, try to collect, throw, swap, spawn, whitem. That would be what we want. Enable lights. True. And then whenever we do the collection, we want to make sure that this is overridden in whitem. so that we can turn the light back off. So not a big deal. So half scale, blah blah blah. We'll just put it right here. So we will disable light, and then we will call our parents on collect so we don't lose any of that functionality. And that should be that. So now hopefully they will spawn, and whenever they spawn they will have pretty lights. Trying to read comments real quick. Yeah. See what news out of the game. Well, hopefully saw some things that you like. So many little bug things. Yeah, so there's lights. Lights everywhere. So yeah, we just gotta get it where they don't mess with their, don't inherit their parents' rotation. And that part will be okay. But before we do that, let's go ahead and try and load the bottom part as well, which we call weapon light base. So go ahead. Back up here to our onload. Basically do the same thing here. Floor, and then let's go find what that object is called, because I have no idea. Actually, I have the object sheet open already, and that small wooden crate probably already has it listed. Yep, weapon marker, perfect. So let's go ahead and do all this fun stuff. Alright, so let's see if that part gets added. Starting to look like disco. Come on, there's not that many lights going on.
Do you remember that build I had where every time you whacked an enemy, it was like strobe light spawn?
Yeah.
Like that.
Alright. Let's go get our rogue. I think the rogue's starting with the gauntlet right now. Gauntlet. Bug smasher. Alright, so let's see what we got. Nice. Oh, hey, there's the spear that I wanted a while ago. So yeah, we'll switch to the spear. I like the spear. Spear makes me happy. So yeah, so I think the weapons are definitely sort of getting distinguished now. Let's go ahead and go into the game. See it in a real world situation. Ouch. Oh, damn it. Hello, spider friend. Do you want to fight? Nope. So yes, you get some debris here. Yeah, so I think the yellow stuff on the bottom for sure makes the weapon stand out. So now we just need to get their light rays point in the right direction, And I think that will be pretty good. Yeah, I think so. I think those are supposed to have a different blend mode maybe, but yeah, it looks like there might, some of the things are off-centered a bit from the weapon origin. But yeah, in general, I think that's going to be good. I think that's going to be alright. Do more damage. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. I think that's going to be alright. We're going to call that pretty decent. Alright. So yeah, so not inheriting the rotation is actually going to be a huge pain in the ass because didn't have the foresight to set it up like that. Let's go check something real quick. On update, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so it's going to be what I'm curious is going to be in here. I think there's a sprite skeletal heading from. Yeah, convert to render skeleton. Yeah, so that's gonna take in world rotation, I'm sure. Blah 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 blah. Actually, where does it take in? Oh, it's in the update, I bet. Yeah, update skeleton, get world rotation. Wow, wow. Well, might as well fix this the more or less right way. You have to fix it in a couple places, but that's okay. On render. So it's going to be in calc render verts in this one. Yeah, get world rotation. Okay. Well, I know where to fix both of these at, so what we will do is something that I've been meaning to do for a long time. I haven't got around to it. So what we got to do is make a system for turning specific things on and off inheritance-wise. And I've been meaning to do this forever because it's really the way it should be done, but hadn't got around to it. Position, scale, rotation, and I think I was thinking about at one point in time I wanted to do alpha as well. So these are actually going to be flags. So instead of letting the compiler generate automatic values for us, we're going to force them to be power of 2 so we can actually make them a flag. Someone talk to me on Skype. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, okay. So what we need is we need a value that represents our inheritance, Schminheritance. So we're just going to drop it down here. Actually, let's make it private. That way I don't mistakenly fuck it up later, accidentally. And so by default, what we want to do, and this will not break anything else in the game, by default, what we want to do is we want to enable all of those inheritance flags. So we're going to set our inheritance value to be equal to all of those things. And this is bitwise or the vertical line. So this is basically saying inheritance equals this and this and this and this and this. And that gives us the ability to turn certain things off. So we're going to add a function down here somewhere. This is just a ghetto place, isn't he? What we're going to do is disable inheritance for any particular flag. So go back up here. We're going to force that they throw in the enum, even though this is just me being pedantic. So what we want to do is take inheritance, and we're going to and equal the opposite of whatever the flag coming in is. So that's basically how you cancel out a bitwise flag on a integer variable. Okay. And if for those who don't know what this does, like the tilde sign in C++ is not binary not, so it goes through and every bit that's flipped gets unflipped, and every bit that's not flipped gets flipped, and says, take whatever I am and equal me to everything else. So this just basically, any of these flags only have a single bit enabled. So whenever we cast not on them, it turns every bit on except for whatever bit this is represented by. So the and equal not effectively just disables that one single flag. So we actually want to make this call from inside here. We want to tell the weapon light to disable inheritance on the rotation. This is actually a really powerful feature. I've been meaning to do this forever. There's been several cases where we could have used it, and since we didn't have it, we just didn't worry about it. But since we're here and now, and might as well just do it right. So setting those flags is great and all, but unless you actually hook it up somewhere, then it doesn't really matter. So we go in here to scene object, which is the beginning of our hierarchy structure, and this is where all the get world functions live, along with all the children stuff, blah blah blah, get child, get children, get world position. And what we want to do is check that our inheritance flag here has whichever thing that we're wanting to check for. So in this case, we're wanting to check for inheritance and the position flag. So we'll just need to do these for rotation scale. And yeah, set these up correct. So do that one. Do this one for scale. Might as well do it for that one as well. And yeah, so we did have a get world alpha, which sounds like a retarded function, but it's incredibly useful. So we'll check the alpha there. But yeah, so theoretically, we just implemented a system to turn off segments of inheritance within the object hierarchy. We'll see if it works here in a second with weapon lights. And we get some errors, of course. Not a big deal. See what puked where. Oh, right. Can't do it that way. Silly me. See, I made it private so we wouldn't actually do what I just did, but I don't feel like writing an access function, so just make it protected. That's called being lazy as hell, but oh well. Oh, getting some good questions from Duke Bammerfire. Good thing Baker's on the stream and ready. I'll let him answer all those questions. No, still an error. What did I miss? Inheritance rotation. Oh. Got to make sure that we're in the right namespace. Alright, so what do you guys think the odds are that on this first try the light rotation is fixed? Well, it doesn't look like we broke anything else. That's good. So let us go give it a shot. Look at that. And no matter what way the weapons are rotated, the lights face up. So I think that's pretty good. Sure, is the render order right? Yeah, drawn on top of everything. Looks like the, no, I guess the weapon's drawn on top of the yellow blob at the bottom. I think so anyway. Anyways. So yeah, so that seemed to work pretty well, I guess. I think we'll probably want to put some polish into this. Because with the variety of weapons and whatnot, it's a little bit more difficult to get uniform, beautiful versus the boxes over here. But in general, oh damn it, door locked, unlock. But in general, I think that's pretty good. So, all right, I'm gonna grab a couple weapons. Gauntlets pass. I'm gonna grab a couple weapons and play for a little bit, and then it's been about an hour, so I'm just gonna play, answer some questions, and probably call it a day and get back to work because I really want to finish some other stuff today. Not that I can't finish it on the stream, it's just faster if I don't.
See it attaches to that weapon marker in the inventory?
Say what?
Does it attach to the weapon marker in the inventory too? Just pick it up.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, it definitely looks like it is. Yeah, sorry I didn't turn it off right, but that's not a big deal. Let's use the whip. Oh, dumb room. Lots of pretty particles up in the top left corner. Oh, too slow for this room. Okay, switching back to the sword. Ouch. So let's use the box for a ghost cover. And he blows up my box, of course. Let's see. I got the tilter, which is a mace. We'll give that a whirl real quick. So sort of similar to the short sword I had, slower. Rat dies, that's good. Is there something else in this room? Yeah, another stupid rat. Not gonna be a big deal. As I say, I thought they were broken for a second, but it's just the end of the animation where it doesn't have any more collision. Anyways, get through there. I'll assume it's that one. And yeah, so I could go all back to drop, but we'll leave it at that. So, yeah, so I guess in conclusion, got some new mechanics in, got some new technical stuff going on that's important. Game is pretty playable as it is right now with everything, but there's still some issues that we want to fix before we ship out this next build. Plus, there's a lot of polish issues that we need to potentially look at. So, new build soon. You guys have probably heard that for a long time now, but sooner now than ever before, which only makes sense if time is linear, right? But yeah, if you guys don't have any other direct questions, I will let you all be. Yeah, I see Duke Bammerfire is asking a lot of questions. Yeah, one of the big goals is to make the game as modifiable as possible. So in some cases that means like choosing to use free/open source tools. We do use some tools that or not free, but that's just for animation, really. I mean, technically Texture Packer as well, but yeah, you can go. Actually, if you have the game right now, you could use Tiled and build your own rooms and load them up in the game and play as you want. All the data is in CSV format, which you can kindly import into Excel so it's more human readable. For example, it looks like this. This is the lights database. So yeah, the goal is everything should be moddable. Classes, enemies, weapons, rooms, everything. And yeah, hopefully people come up with some really cool stuff. We'll see. Very excited to see how that pans out. So, anyways, that's it for me. Time to go smoke. So thank you guys for your time and attention, and see you soon.